We have with us Nikhil Sharma, South Asia Managing Director and COO of the Radisson Group of Hotels. Nikhil, welcome to PTI Video. First up, tell us about Radisson's expansion plans for India. You've said earlier that Radisson is eyeing a portfolio of 240 hotels by 2025. How far along are we in that direction, and what's the outlook in terms of target of the number of hotels for 2026?
Firstly, I'd like to thank you for having us at PTI. Radisson has been in the country for a little more than 26 years, and we've passed the 200 hotel mark this year. And I think that's a testament of the group, the ownerships that we partner with, and us being in the true Bharat, and I'll elaborate on that a little later. But let me just say that we truly believe in Viksit Bharat, and we have been working on that for a long time. And if I can say, everything that the government is doing in the last 10 years on infrastructure, on the corridors, on the trains and in airlines, all that leads to tourism, and we are enjoying that journey and are partnering in that journey.
So do you have a number in mind for the number of hotels by 2026, and 240, how far along are you on that?
Right, so like I said, we've crossed the 200 mark, and in terms of cities, and I want to stress on that a little bit, because to grow in Bharat, you have to be other than the metros, other than the top 10 cities. We are in 75 plus cities at the moment as we speak, and by the years that you're mentioning, we will be in at least 115 cities. So that's really inclusive growth within Bharat, and for us, and it's not the numbers but also the quality that we bring in. So when I say responsible growth, those 200 or the 240 or 300 or 500 number that we can look at achieving in this country, eventually by doubling our portfolio in the next few years, because it's a golden era. For us as a company, it's extremely important to grow inclusively, to make sure that we grow sustainably in the regions that we are growing, and of course make sure that the local community gets hired and works in our hotels.
So in terms of employment numbers, how many employees do you have currently, and is there a target in mind for that as well?
Well, we are close to 19,000 employees at the moment as we speak. As we grow, typically a hotel to room ratio is every room takes 1.2 to 1.9 team members. So let's just say anywhere between one team member to 2 team members. We have a pipeline of at the moment about 8,000 more keys that we are going to be developing. So another 16,000 team members at any given point of time will be joining us in the near future.
So everyone is saying this is India's moment. What excites you about the India market, and how do you plan to drive revenue growth from South Asia and particularly from the India market?
So firstly, let me take a step back, right? And let's just talk about the numbers that India has at the moment. Our hospitality industry today is touching, in the classified segment, 185,000 classified rooms. My belief is in the next 5 to 7 years, the industry will hit 1 million operating rooms in the classified segment. Now, where is this belief coming from? It's coming from 3 or 4 attributes. One is the GDP growth of this country, right? Second, that I just spoke of, is the infrastructure push that the government is having, whether it's the rail, whether it's the road, or whether it's just the infrastructure that is being developed, right? Because the more the infrastructure in the city, the advantage of us being present in those cities becomes more, because it's that much more accessible. The third piece is the growing middle class, and we have actually 9 different brands. So we cater today, and one brand that we've created only for India, which is a 3-star product, which is the Park Inn and Suites. The objective is to be in cities that are tier 4, tier 5, and be not only flag planters there, but be present for Bharat that needs a room for relatives and so on and so forth. Because one of the things that we have seen after COVID is how the let me just say how people want to travel today, right? Yes, we see a lot of more and more spiritual travel, and we're opening hotels in more spiritual destinations. For us, Ayodhya was key. We were the first branded hotel to open in Ayodhya, in fact before the Ram Mandir. We continue to be in spiritual destinations. It's also because of, if I can say, the Indian mindset. Most of us in India would take the first break as a family to a spiritual destination and not so much a hill or a beach destination. And we are deeply spiritual as a country, right? And that resonates with us so in our travel. So that is the first piece. The second piece that we are seeing is, as India grows and relatives travel, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, you had your relatives staying with you in your house. We are seeing a paradigm shift in that. We are seeing your relatives, while they will come and visit you, including close family, they would prefer to stay in a hotel close to you or in that city, right? And in tier 2, tier 3, tier 4, that conversion is already happening thanks to the internet penetration, thanks to, everything that is happening in this country. And I truly believe that the next 4, 5, 7 years are the golden era for Indian hospitality. And if I can say this, if I can elaborate on what you just asked, I believe in the Indian hospitality today surpasses a lot of other countries in terms of how we serve and how we are hospitable, right? And I would call that Asian hospitality. For a company like us that is headquartered in Europe, I think we can bring in a lot of tech efficiencies, a lot of efficiencies in operating an organization in this part of the world, but the Asian hospitality is truly beautiful. And I truly believe that in the next 10 years you will see more and more Indians across the globe taking Indian hospitality to different countries.
Now, you mentioned COVID. We are seeing a tectonic shift post-COVID with domestic tourism picking up much more, but foreign tourist arrivals have not yet returned to pre-COVID levels. From a policy perspective, as an industry insider, what do you think needs to be done in terms of maybe easing the visa processes or other policy issues that need to be addressed so that the FTAs return to pre-COVID levels?
So firstly, let me just say that the domestic economy and the domestic tourism is extremely robust at this point of time, right? Anywhere between 90 to 95% is the domestic travel. You do see FTAs coming in small numbers, and there are comparisons about the number of FTAs coming into India versus Singapore versus Dubai versus Spain and so on and so forth. But to each country its own. Between the industry bodies, which is Faith, HAI, FHRAI, each one of us is actually working with the government to make sure that we are more inclusive for foreign tourists coming in, and easing of visa depending on countries. But given the geopolitics that's happening as we speak even today, it will take a little time. Also, everything that's happening globally doesn't help, right? You're seeing airspaces being closed in Middle East, you're seeing airplaces being closed in parts of Europe. With air traffic going up, the cost of traffic will also go up.
You mentioned geopolitics. We are in the midst of several geopolitical conflicts that directly influence travel behavior. What are the headwinds that you see for the hospitality sector going forward?
So firstly, we are a industry that is cyclical, right? And we are extremely dependent on the economy. And like I said, the Indian economy with a GDP growth of 6.2, 6.5 in the coming years is extremely robust. Inflation is within 5%. If you compare this to any other country globally, it is very, very aggressive, right? So overall, I would say we are in a good shape. From the industry perspective, I think talent and answering that, because every hotel company is growing, and you are seeing that. And like I said, from 185,000 rooms to hit 1 million operating rooms, you need that much more talent to be working in that industry. Um, Tourism and hospitality is the second largest employer in the country after agriculture. I truly believe that the answer lies in skilling and skilling in tier 2, tier 3, tier 4 cities. It is not the IHMs or the large hotel management institutes that will give you the manpower tomorrow. It's the skilling institutes in Bharat that will give you the answer, and for those individuals to grow in the hospitality industry.
What about the threat posed by terrorism? We saw the Pahalgam attack at a time when tourism was really picking up in the valley. How do you view that threat for the hospitality sector, particularly for the India market?
It's a great question. So we are the largest operator in J&K, and I'm including domestic players in that. We currently have 7 hotels in J&K, 5 hotels in Kashmir, and we have a pipeline of another 2 or 3 in the state of J&K. We actually have a hotel in Pahalgam. It's very unfortunate what happened. I think the J&K government, GOI, are working towards making sure that the Indian travelers believe it is safe to go back. The Kedarnath Yatra, the Amarnath Yatra are going to be a big testament for that, and it's always been on top of mind, top recall. Are the numbers equal to last year? No, they are not. We are, I would say, operating between 20 to 30% in cities like Pahalgam, Sonmarg. In Srinagar, we are about 50% to what the occupancies were last year. Right? Last year, about 35 lakh tourists came into the valley. This year, we are not seeing those numbers, of course, because of what happened. But I truly believe that Kashmir is a destination that is an all-weather destination, and we are going to be working with the government, making sure that we promote tourism in all seasons, whether it is summer, whether it is winter, because Kashmir has that advantage and the availability and the beauty in offering that. So a small dent at the moment, but from a long-term strategy, Kashmir, there is only one Kashmir in our country, and the beauty lies in the eyes of the beholder, and you have to go to Kashmir to experience it.
How do you view the rise of travel tech aggregators as intermediaries for booking hotel rooms? I'm asking this because we are seeing a lot of restaurants express discontent with Swiggy and Zomato over data privacy concerns and controlling the consumer data, the customer data. How do you view the rise of travel tech aggregators, and what's your?
So for hotels, it's slightly different because the last mile, the customer is checking into your hotel and you own the data, right? And we have our own loyalty programs that the customers would love to be part of. So Radisson Rewards currently in India has well over 2.2 million members, and it's growing, right? So our loyalty base in India is extremely strong, and that loyalty base then uses those points to travel to Dubai, Singapore, Greater India, if I can say, Vietnam, Thailand, to our hotels and beyond, right? So that is extremely strong with us. I think all international players, and I can say this on behalf of all international players, are friends with OTAs, or can I just say they're married? So it's a husband-wife relationship. Some days are good days, some days are bad days, but at the end of the day, you have to live with them and make it work. So that's really where we are.
How do you view the rise of generative AI for the sector, offering personalized booking experience to travelers, and how do you see that evolve for the hospitality sector?
Okay, firstly, AI will change the way we work today, right? Will change hospitality to a large degree. But at the end of the day, do you want to see a smiling face behind the counter, or do you want to see a machine? Is a question that I've been asked. And let me take you back a little bit. In the pandemic, there was a lot of conversations how buffets are going to be dead, and nobody's going to eat in restaurants. But every hotel you go to today, you see a line at breakfast for buffets, right? So human beings are extremely social. What AI will do is make it very efficient for us in terms of ease, but I think from an experience perspective, you will still have that human interaction, right? Whether it is somebody taking your check-in, it could be a machine as well. In Europe, you already see that, right? But most people prefer a human interaction. But with that said, what are we doing on AI? Whether it's in-room dining or even designing rooms at the moment, for new projects, we are using AI and making sure that you use it as a business enabler rather than anything else. But the human interface at the hotels will continue. It may be limited, but it will be definitely more experiential.
So in conclusion, 2026, any particular targets that you've set for Radisson, and how are you looking at it?
So firstly, let me just say that while we can speak about numbers all the time, and we already spoke about some numbers, I think long term we want to double our footprint in the country, and we truly believe that as an international player, with the domestic roots that we have, we will be able to double our portfolio across the 9 brands that we have. 2026 is going to be no different. This year we will open 20 hotels. In the last 5 years, we've signed 51 hotels, which has been the highest signings ever, right? Last year itself, we did 36 signings, just as an example, right? So we can see that momentum going in the country, and our growth would be in tier 2, tier 3, tier 4 cities, or even destinations that we want to be flag planters like Karjat, Saputara, and so on and so forth. These are destinations where we've built hotels, internationally branded hotels, and customers have come, right? So if you were to ask me my final words, I would say we don't want to grow in India, we want to grow with India, and that's why we're here.
Nikhil, thank you so much for talking to PTI Video. Pleasure having you with us.
Thank you so much.